Hey guys, welcome to another video. Just wanted to quickly just jump on here and just chat about my buying experience, kind of give you guys some pointers, some things to really look out for when you're buying a car, whether it's an Audi, an RS3 or not. You might take away something from this video. But yeah, so guys, I've been driving this thing for 1,000 miles. I really enjoy it. There's things that I like, things that I don't love, but nothing I hate about the car. So that's the most important thing, because I know, there's always things that, like, you spend this kind of money, you want to make sure that it's the right car for you. And I'm still getting used to like a sedan versus hatchback. I think my preference is still a hatchback, but I don't know. I mean, I think this thing looks fine. It's a very sporty looking, compact sedan, because it is not a big car. It's quite small. I've been using between Car Gurus and Carfax. It's always kind of been Car Gurus, but I started just jumping on the Carfax train, especially after what happened in February when I went to go test drive a car. Seeing that amount of owners, I was like, no. So I've been doing a lot through Carfax as far as vehicle sourcing, just so I can select one previous owner. That's just my preference. I know in some respects it doesn't really matter, but I'm all about kind of value retention, and I know, I'll get kind of into the whole value and price stuff. I don't think I'm going to go bluntly and tell you guys exactly what I paid for this car yet. I know I overpaid, but we'll get into that. I guess we'll just talk about the just general experience, maybe not throw numbers out, but yeah, no, it's been a great car so far, and the experience wasn't too bad. But so I ended up finding this car on Carfax. There was actually no photos at all posted. The thing was on Carfax, is like listed there for like a day or two. So basically brand new. The dealer didn't take any photos at that time, and I reached out. Every single car that I was asking, or inquiring about, basically sold the next day. These cars, it's tough to find a completely stock RS3 that's in good condition, no accidents, one owner, especially because the 8V, I mean, it's been around for a while. And at the end of the day, this is it's a 2018, and I'm driving it in 2024. So it's a 6-year-old car. Hard to believe, but 18,000 miles. It smells new, it feels new, drives new. So yeah, I found this thing on Carfax. There are no photos. I reached out. The dealer, was prompt to get back to me. It was Audi of Huntington Station is the name, and they're based out of New York, right in Huntington Station, New York. And yeah, I mean, everyone was fine. Calm and cordial. It was a decent process. Every time I've purchased cars, I've always had one little hiccup or headache, and this dealer doesn't believe in online documents. So the signatures, dealing with the whole signing back and forth, you have to like overnight paperwork. I maybe it's just the state of New York, because I have a friend who also just bought a Tesla in New York, and similar situation. Every single car that I've purchased has always been e-docs, and that was dating back to 2016. So, every dealer has their preference. Maybe that's a state mandatory thing, but just that was like a big headache and a hiccup. I was actually going to go physically pick up the car, so I know I'm kind of maybe knocking on the dealership for that, but I did tell them initially I was going to physically go there and pick it up, but I ended up, I think, telling them maybe Thursday or Friday, and I was supposed to go Saturday, that hey, I'm not going to pick up the car, or I think it was actually earlier on in the week, maybe Tuesday. So we had some time to prepare and make sure everything was all squared away, but yeah, I ended up not being down for picking it up. So, but yeah, I mean, generally the dealer was fine. They answered all my questions. The photos they took were awful though. I wish, again, they had no photos ahead of time, and it was a rainy day, so they snapped some quick ones, and it was truly sight unseen buying this thing. I knew right off the bat the car had paint protection film on the front. It looked like, from the photos you can kind of see the edges, which was good. That was a good thing. The other thing that I wasn't super keen on though is it didn't have the RS3 badge, and that's kind of where I go down the things it didn't have. And it's not too much, but there are some things that even still I actually have to address. So the first thing, yeah, the no front RS3 badge. And if you guys know, OEM badges cost so much money, but you really want to get OEM badges, especially when it comes to those like RSS, badges, just because the sizing, that's where you can notice it the most. Typically with the Audi rings, you can get away with, aftermarket. And of course you have to buy the bracket too. So it was like 30 bucks for the bracket, and then like 60, 70 bucks for the RS3 logo, but it's a freaking RS3. I want it to say RS3 on it. It looks like an A3 if you don't do it, and that's just my 2 cents, but if it's an RS3, it's got to say RS3. I like when they're debadged on the back because it has the oval tips, you can kind of tell, but for so many people, they have no freaking clue, so I'm going to leave the badges on. it's just, you kind of have to do it. But there's some clean builds out there that don't have the badges and they look fantastic. They look like an actual special car. So yeah, the dealer didn't disclose that. So that was, or the dealer was like, oh, that's weird. Yeah, I noticed that too. They didn't have the front badge. And I was like, okay, well, great. I know it's something I'm gonna have to buy. Another thing too was the floor mats. This car came with really unusual floor mats. I don't know if the RS3 ones are kicking around or if you somehow stumble across any RS3 floor mats, but please let me know, because the floor mats that this car came with have got to be off some kind of, you know, A5 or, you know, Q5, just a bigger car, because, you know, the pins that hold the floor mats in, I mean, first and foremost, these don't say RS3, they don't say anything. I could probably look at the tag and really figure it out from that. You can tell that these don't fit the car. I reached out to the sales rep and I was like, oh, you know, not a big deal, but the floor mats just don't, you know, they don't work. This is what pissed me off the most. And they're like, switch them. Put the driver's ones on the passenger side, see if that fits. No, absolutely, it does not fit. So that was kind of annoying, just because it was just like, just admit it. Just say, oh shoot, you know what, that happens. And I admit it. I even told to them, I expect some things to not be, you know, perfect with this car. It's a used car, and I bought sight unseen. So hey, but disclosure, I think, goes such a long way. So I don't know. But aside from that, it has, you know, a little dent or, you know, some damage on the rear bumper. It's nothing bad, but it's there, and something I didn't know about ahead of time. So I like full transparency, just so I know what I'm getting into, and I don't feel like I was, you know, I don't know, lied to. They didn't lie to me, they just didn't disclose these things, so take that for what it's worth, but that's kind of something that sort of rubbed me the wrong way. Every car that I've bought, you know, if it had one little imperfection, I've been told about it ahead of time, which is super cool. You know, I'm still gonna pay the same price, but it's the full disclosure kind of at least prepares me for, you know, the first day you collect the car, you want it to be great, you want it to look awesome, especially at such low miles. I mean, all my cars I bought are low miles, and, you know, so it'd be nice to, you know, be basically perfect. Aside from that too, the brakes are, I don't want to say they're warped, but you know, I checked the rotors, there's no cracking, so it doesn't look like it's from abuse, you know, from the last owner, but I definitely need to address the rotors and the pads. I know with these floating rotors, they can perhaps occasionally they can warp, just because there's really no, you know, the pins basically that the hub attaches to the actual rotor itself. I call them pins, I don't know the specific word for it, but you could see how it's easily compromised. So yeah, so that was that, but I can't knock them for the brakes. The brakes were kind of, they're still weird. It's like I'm betting them in, you know, the more I drive this car, the better, but it still has some judder, some wobble on braking. So I know I need to do brakes, and we're probably going to jump on ECS Tuning's site and scoop up some brakes, because they're going to be helping us out with this build. So aside from that, that's really the only thing that's kind of wrong with this car. I guess maybe just to add to it, I don't know what the last owner was thinking, but it's got to have been paint. It doesn't look like plastic, especially the way it's coming off. All of the Audi badges, the rings, and the RS3 badge in the back are like this matte black, and they look so cheap. They look so plasticky. They just do not look like they belong. So I have to address that. Absolutely. Which I'm not looking forward to, because badges are expensive. I already bought the Audi rings, and I'm probably gonna, you know, have to drop another $65 on the RS3 for the rear. I already got the front squared away, but the rear I kind of want to make good. Overall, I know I probably sound like I'm, you know, not happy with them, but no, it was a great experience, and you know, I would recommend anyone to go there. So so that's the dealership. The next thing, shipping. Holy crap, this was probably the worst of the worst. I went through SGT, I think is the name. The shipping was like from New York to New Hampshire, which was like right around like just under 300 miles. It was like $850, and it was supposed to be $450, you know, and then they get you the extra 200 just to make sure you get it the next day. But that ended up kind of, you know, not happening. So I reached out, I was like, I need my car. You guys like said you're gonna ship it. You know, they give you the 48-hour window to, you know, promise to pick it up. We exceeded that by like a day or two, and I was so mad. I was definitely a Karen. I was the worst experience I've ever had. This is the third time I've done this. All the cars I've purchased have been sight unseen, and I've shipped them. So this arguably was the closest one that I could have gone to pick up, but still a pain in the neck for whoever has to drive me. So yeah, I ended up doing that, and you know, we paid the $850 to get it here. And it did show up Saturday, which was kind of nice, not on a work day. So that was a little bit easy to work with. But yeah, generally it was really bad experience. The poor guy who's dropping off the car, again, these are like technically like contractors, or I don't even really know what they're hourly or what, but you know, they take these bids, they take these jobs, and Car Carrier, the broker, or the, you know, the SGT in this case, they told me that they take card, and lo and behold, the guy shows up and said cash. And got to drive my new car. I drove it to the bank, and I grabbed some cash and showed up and showed back up here. The poor guy was still waiting outside of my house, and handed him some dough, a little bit extra for his time, and he was on his way. So very, very annoying. And then right from there, cleaned the thing, went around the car just to make sure everything looked good. But overall, it was a fine situation. The shipping company kind of sucked, and like I said, the dealer could have had a bit of a smoother process, but that could just be like a state rule. You physically have to sign the papers, whatever. But yeah. Aside from that, I know I've addressed this, but I probably have overpaid for this car. I wanted blue, and this one was clean and kind of did all the, had all the nice things that I wanted. A 2018 for the transmission. These are the best transmissions for the 8V RS3. Just a more aggressive shift, and certainly really great off the line. We've done one launch, and oh my God, it lights up all 4 tires. How cool is that? It was a really cool experience. So I'm excited to take this to the drag strip, and hopefully she runs some good times. It's a good car. No, it really is. It sounds freaking sweet. It really, really does. In fact, just so you guys, if you watched up to this point, we'll give you guys a nice startup. You guys deserve it. All right. Cold start. Back to sleep. Yeah, guys, this thing is freaking sweet. It sounds awesome. I think that's probably my favorite thing about this car is the sound. Performance is great, and I'm starting to really like the way this thing drives. At first, I didn't like the transmission. It felt clunky, but then I drove the Golf R again, for a couple quick errands, and oh my God, this is a good transmission. It's not bad. It's just, it's just different. So something to I guess bring up. But yeah. For those of you who have any questions or anything, I guess regarding the purchasing process, just leave a comment below. Otherwise, stay tuned for some more videos. We have some badge skins on the way. I'm so excited to throw those on. This thing needs a little bit of tender love and care. And then I'll probably address the paint protection film. I can see that being expensive. Probably do wheels before I do lowering springs, or lowering. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I'm going to drop this video tonight, but the next video is going to be in the Golf R, the last video with the Golf R, basically just kind of my final advertisement to you guys before I post it all over the internet and basically sell it. 2019 Golf R, DSG, pretty bone stock. You're getting Euro tails, the IE intake and inlet pipe. That's as far as hardware goes, and stage 1 ECU and the TCU tune if you want it. I'm probably going to flash it back to stock, but for the buyer who is interested in that car, if you do want the car to be tuned, we can make that happen. Otherwise, I'm taking the box. I'm taking all that out of my greed, my selfishness. I will be using that on this car. So. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm excited for some more videos with this car. I really appreciate all the support and all the feedback. You guys have been just leaving the best feedback, and I feel like I really made the right choice. Anyway, guys, thank you again for staying tuned, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace and love.